Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. It is a good day. It's a really good day.
Really good day.
Uh, yes, it is. First of all, I have a very special guest, and I can't wait for you all to meet her. You may have seen interviews with her over the last couple of months or so, as she is a trailblazer in the science field, and especially among Black women. But also, my friend J. Anthony Brown
My
is here
good friend.
today.
I'm here.
My good friend. My good friend.
I'm having a good day today, Sybil. I got a lot of stuff from Amazon, so hey.
Oh, the boxes were stacked up for you, waiting for you, huh?
You order so much from Amazon, I forget what I ordered. Oh yeah, I did order that.
I know, and I have to go over my orders sometimes
Yeah,
too.
I'm like,
Jay.
well,
Yeah.
I didn't order. Oh yes, I did.
Oh yeah,
yes,
I did. Yeah. I don't know why at 3:00 in the morning I thought I needed that, but okay. I placed the order. All right, here we go.
I need a room sanitizer that smells like cucumber. Yeah, I bought that. I'm sorry. I thought I forgot.
A humidifier that I can carry on the plane with me.
Why wouldn't you want that? Why
wouldn't
you?
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget an ability to play games at any time of the day or
and I'm
night.
almost hurt when they drive by and not leave anything. I'm like, you got something on that truck that I can get.
Right.
I
think it was because of our love of all things Broadway. I think it was the Music Man. Was it the Music Man that or the Wells Fargo wagon is coming down the street? Yeah.
Yes.
Is it a prepaid surprise or COD?
It's just a good feeling.
It really is. It's a good day. Well, you should have gotten a lot of packages this week. You were the birthday boy.
Yours truly had a birthday. Big 7-1. Woo! Wow, Sybil. I just got this thing in the mail. I think it's a gift of what was going on when I was born. So we'll talk about it later.
Okay, cool. Jay, we're going to talk about the newsletter. This is our What You Need to Know newsletter. It is our effort to super serve the African American community. And that is you folks that are watching and listening. Our newsletter is absolutely free. We'd love to have you subscribe. Please go to sybilwilkes.com to subscribe, and we will have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. And we talk about a lot of things that are happening, not only within the African American community, but as they affect the African American community. And so
and if you don't like to read, Sybil reads it to you.
That's true.
You can't beat that. That can't be beat.
We give you a watch and a listen option.
Or if you can't read, she reads it to you.
I don't know anyone that would apply to. All I can say is
me. That would be yours truly.
But we do give people the option. If you don't like to read, we'll synchronize it down just to a couple of things.
And no one will know for the better that you didn't read it.
Who will be the wiser?
Who would be the wiser?
Right. That's right. So that is what we do, and a lot of these stories that we talk about, as I said, we have not only as they happen in the African American community, but as they affect the African American community. Yeah. And today we are missing our mental health and wellness contributor, April Lett. And
we need her now more than anything, don't we?
On a day with Jay. Yeah, absolutely. But April Lett is our mental health and wellness contributor. And she talked about, Jay, do you know the TV show Ted Lasso?
I have not seen that show. I heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
It's a really popular show. It's on Apple TV. And the cast of Ted Lasso, it's about an American who goes over to England to coach an
yes, they did a
soccer team
to coach a hockey team.
It's a soccer team.
Team. I know. I haven't seen it, but it's getting a lot of press and a lot of reviews on it. A lot of time.
Yeah, they during the award season, they're really quite popular, getting a lot of awards. Well, Jason Sudeikis, who is formerly of Saturday Night Live, is the star of Ted Lasso. He is the eponymous that the title with his name in it. Cast met with the Bidens for mental health discussion. And so they were at the White House this week to meet with the president and the first lady, Dr. Jill Biden, to discuss how mental health contributes to overall well-being. And his character He is a really good coach, and one of those good old boys
Hmm.
from the U.S. Who goes to therapy after he has suffered a series of panic attacks, and so he went to the podium in the White House briefing room and urged people to ask friends, family, and colleagues how they're doing. He
Wow.
said that it's easier said than done. We also have to know that we shouldn't be afraid to ask for help ourselves, and it does take a lot for a lot of people because of the negative stigma that is attached to mental
Especially
health.
men. I would say especially men more
Yeah,
so than women. Women have their the support group within, but men really don't have that, or men don't listen to it, or they don't reach out for it. It could be there, but they don't reach out for it. So
right, right. So let me ask you, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I've had my ups and downs. Depression is very serious. I got some health challenges that I'm dealing with, but for the most part, 7-1, way past my mom and dad, and I'm happy to be here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's an up and down battle, really. Some days it's blah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
But like, when did I call you yesterday or was
yeah,
it,
you did. You spoke to me because if a couple days go by when I don't talk to Sybil, it's an all point bulletin that.
well, I wouldn't call it an APB,
Oh
but
no,
I
I
would.
call it that. I don't call it that.
and I call first,
Yeah.
and if I don't get an answer,
Yeah, then there's
then
another
I
call. Right, right,
and
right.
I text, where you at? What you
Where
doing?
you at? What you doing? Yeah,
Right.
that's
So
good.
just
I'm so
check
glad
in.
we're way better friends than when we started. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. You people would not know in the beginning.
Well, because you took the
That,
job
that
that my
I had nothing
friend.
to do with that.
But
All right,
that's an old story. But we'll
that's an
talk
old
about
story.
that.
We'll get back to that one day. So
Yeah,
yeah,
one day. But good job on Aprilette and telling this story, and also about how people in the media, in entertainment, are bringing this closer to home, and putting it, not only making it a part of the storyline, but stepping out of their characters and also as themselves. Because, as you know better than anyone, in the entertainment business, there is a lot that goes along with,
yeah, and
you know,
especially with depression. Mike Wallace suffered from depression for a
yeah.
long time. It only lasted about 60 minutes, but anyway, that's a whole. What? What?
Because only those of us that know Mike Wallace can appreciate that joke.
Yeah, you got to do some research to get that joke, okay?
Yeah, yeah. The youngins on our crew may not necessarily get it. Maybe the old souls like
Yeah, yeah,
Aprilette and Coy will get it.
yeah.
But yeah, it is. That was a good one. That
Do a
was a
good
good
one.
one.
Okay, all right.
But she does talk about this, and she is one of our young contributors, and as I said, she is our mental health and wellness contributor. She is on with us once a week, as well as Coy Malone, who is our social justice contributor, and she is on with us on Mondays. And we have Ahmed, one of my producers, and Damon Williams on Tuesday and Wednesday. Our
It's
LGBTQ
amazing you can.
plus.
What is wrong with my hat? There we go.
That was something else I was going to
Yeah,
ask you.
it's
Is
not.
it
It's not. It's amazing you get Damon because Damon's always on stage
right?
somewhere. Right.
That's right. Yeah,
Very funny
yeah,
guy. Very funny guy.
absolutely, absolutely. And he and Med and I talk about the issues and things. And then Thursdays is Aprilette, and unfortunately, her 9 to 5 got her running, and so Jay very
Good, good,
kindly
good.
stepped in to have this conversation with us about the newsletter. So one story that I worked on for this newsletter is about for 3 days in a row, 3 consecutive days, there was a shooting at a high school.
Yes. One
Two of
ended
them,
well, they all ended tragically, but there's
right.
one a little more tragic than others, connecting the situation. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. On Monday, there was a shooting at a school in Arlington, Texas, that is suburban Fort Worth, and it involved a student, a 15-year-old, who went
Wow.
to school with a long gun before 7 o'clock in the morning. Went with the express purpose of shooting this gun, and unfortunately, he shot into a crowd, and a 16-year-old boy was killed. So now this kid is being held on charges, on murder charges, and another young girl had shrapnel, so she had to be hospitalized regarding that. On Tuesday, once again in the Dallas area, a high school, a kid was sitting in the parking lot, and there was a drive-by apparently, and he was shot while in the parking lot. They did identify the student, and I think they picked him up. Now, Jay's referencing the tragedy that happened in Denver, Colorado, at a high school on Wednesday. So on this day, there's a public high school, and this is so curious, Jay.
Right.
There's a case where a student has been transferred into the school.
Was a troubled kid, right?
Right. And so troubled, in fact, that he had to go through every day. They had to go through a pat down to make sure that he wasn't carrying any weapons. This particular day, he had a weapon. And as they found the gun and he grabbed it, he shot two of the administrators. They were two deans of the school. One was hit seriously, and another was hit. He was hospitalized in stable condition, but the other had to undergo surgery. So this kid then ran away, and they could not find him. They did describe him as a 17-year-old black boy with an afro, wearing a hoodie. How many of those are out there, even in Denver, Colorado? But it is a situation in which they search for him throughout the day. And about 8 o'clock last night, it was reported that the body of the 17-year-old who allegedly shot and wounded two staff members, his body was found, as the community was already reeling from another fatal shooting last month. And so they confirmed the body found in the wooded area was Austin Lyle. Police said that he fled East High School that morning, allegedly shot the two staff members. His body was found about 8:15 after this long day's manhunt. And they said that during a news conference that everybody who was told to shelter in place, that they had found him, and unfortunately they reported that he appeared to have killed himself.
Yeah.
And this is the curious part. During the search, a handgun was retrieved and several shots were fired in the office in the front of the school, away from any students and staff. They would not say why this teenager, 17-year-old boy, was a part of this plan. They said that they are, working through this, but it just seems so curious. If he is that big of a danger,
why is he allowed to come back to school?
Yeah.
And the other problem, not a problem, but the other situation is we have the government that's so set on blocking transgender, trans shows and not gun control.
Right.
To them, that's the most important thing.
But gun control is not.
Nothing for that.
So that is the tragedy of what's going on in our schools. And it was just reported today that it's been ruled that the teenager that killed 4 students in a Michigan high school last year, his parents are apparently going to have to stand in conjunction as being responsible for the murders of those students at this high school. So, and I think that's fair.
I think that's fair.
But to try to make sense of a 6-year-old being able to bring a gun to school and shoot his teacher in Virginia.
The kid that shot his sister.
Yeah, that was another one. That was another one. Absolutely. That is one of the stories that we had in the newsletter. And of course, as we mentioned, affecting the African-American community. And also a health update. So you know better than anyone the use of medication, and I mean this seriously.
Okay.
Whether pills for your diabetes or your heart condition or your all these things,
blood pressure,
for your eyes and
fun meds, whatever.
So there's been a recall to some eye drops because these eye drops have been tainted with a drug-resistant bacteria. How does this happen?
Oh my God. I think it happens because we don't know how long drugs sit around before they go to the market. We
Yeah.
really don't. We have no idea. It can be tested, come out, that it's good. It sits on the shelf for quite some time. You use it, and now you got a problem.
So baby formula, remember that?
Yeah.
Remember when they had the shutdown on the manufacturing of baby formula because of some bacteria that was present in the factory. So here's the deal. These eye drops from Esri Care and Delsam Pharma were called in February, and health authorities are trying to continue to track the infections. They investigate the outbreak. And they say that the infections from the bacteria now cause a total of 3 deaths and
Ooh.
8 cases of people losing their vision. In
Oh my
some
God.
cases, people had their eyeballs had to be removed.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
How
That's unbelievable.
crazy is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
So
but
please,
this it's a fact that pretty much every medicine that's on the market has killed somebody,
yeah,
sooner or later. So that's one of the downfalls of medicine that we take, that we think is going to work for us, and it doesn't work the same for everybody. It just
yeah.
doesn't.
Absolutely. These recall drops were manufactured by Global Pharma Healthcare in India, where the bacteria is commonly linked to outbreaks in hospitals and spread through contaminated hands or medical equipment.
Wow. Yeah, be careful.
That just makes me crazy. That just makes me crazy. I was recently at the eye doctor, and they told me the kind of drops, if I should have dry eye or whatever. I'm scared to open the package now. There's just so much out there. There's so much out there. Also, social justice. Coy Malone talks about the 10 people who have been indicted in the death of Ervo Otieno during a
Oh,
mental
that's
health
such a
crisis.
sad story, man.
Once
Oh my
again,
God.
yeah, this is in Petersburg, Virginia, and this young man and to see his poor mother, on television
It
and
should never
wanting
take more
justice.
than 2 to 4 people at the most to subdue a
10,
prisoner. Yeah, when you got 10 people
10
holding
people.
somebody
Yeah,
down till they suffocate, yeah, they
yep.
need to go to jail. They need to go to jail.
They said that he died of asphyxiation,
Oh,
and they were indicted with second-degree murder, including 7 county deputies and 3 hospital employees.
I like it a lot.
It makes me sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
But what makes me sad is that every day Coy has a story like this regarding social justice and how Black men, especially, are done wrong in the system and killed many times by our own
But
people.
you really hear, I mean, and like we talk about whites and black. It's not all white. It's not all black. It's just the injustice of people, how they treat other people when they seem to have the advantage over them. The
Yep.
meaning that they will do anything within their own imagination to harm another person. And that,
Right.
like, where does that come from? What brings that about? And it seems more now than ever,
Yeah.
because
Well, certainly more information is coming
yeah,
out
we find
and
out
that we
about it
didn't
now.
have
Right.
before. You
Hmm.
know. Okay, so that's those are examples of stories in our What You Need to Know newsletter. The subscription is absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com. Give us your name and your email address. As Jay said, you also have the option of watching and listening to us describe the stories that are in the newsletter, along with Yogi's Jewel and things like that, our daily inspiration. So please, we would love to have you as a part of our What You Need to Know news crew. So let us move to the What's Really Going On segment. I am so excited. The nerdy little girl in me, Jay. You might have to have me calm down.
I might have to hold you
You might
down or
have to
something like that.
just slap me and
You're
say,
so excited.
just chill out. Because I came across this story in February during Black History Month about this young woman, trailblazing woman, and so excited to welcome to It's Sybil and the What You Need to Know show,
Hello there.
Clarice Phelps. Okay,
Yes.
so this woman is a major scientist. Okay, so let me ask you first of all, because I have a couple of different ways of referring to you. Do you prefer Claire or Clarice?
I Clarice. Yeah, Clarice
Clarice.
is fine.
Clarice.
Clarice.
That is.
Or can I just
Yeah.
call you High Priestess of Science?
I don't know. I don't know. That's like saying
That's a nice
Rayon
title. I
Rising.
like that one. I like High Priestess of Science.
Y'all can call me that for today.
For today?
For today.
Okay.
Uh, and I also read that you were in a PhD program at the University of Tennessee. Have you completed it? Do we call you Dr. Clarice?
Not yet, but
Okay.
yes, I am hopefully in the next couple years I will be done. But I'm over
I have a
the
question.
big hump, but
I have a
not the
question.
the final hump. Yeah, not the final.
All right, I have a
Yes,
question.
yes,
Were
JMV
you
Brown.
aware of how smart you were, or did this come from other people?
Did,
No, I mean, when you're surrounded by a bunch of
Other
other
smart
people
people?
that are,
That's
yeah,
my
you kind of,
problem. That's it. There
I
it
know it's
is.
everyday problem for you probably.
well, let me tell you how smart she is. Clarice is a nuclear chemist who was part of the
Wow.
team that discovered an element number 117 on the periodic table.
You know how outstanding that is, because most black people only know three elements: earth,
When
wind, and fire. And
Oh
so no,
Lord,
number one, and you can use that, Clarice,
yeah.
anytime. Yeah,
gonna
Jay
use it.
will, yeah,
I'll
please.
credit you, Jay.
All right. You don't have to give me credit. Just say I came up with it. Just
Number
He
117,
was
it's called Tennessine.
yes, Tennessee.
what is it?
Yeah.
Can you
What is it?
describe?
Oh well, okay, so it is actually a synthetic element. And a lot of people will ask, like, well, what can you do with it? What does it do? Nothing. It doesn't do anything because it doesn't it doesn't exist for long enough for you to do anything, any kind of like physical or chemical manipulations with it. So any kind of data that is out there is either like computational, theoretical, based off of the information that was able to be obtained, and physics and nuclear modeling and stuff like
Yes.
that.
So
So
is it
that
is it is it is it something you discover? Like, here it is. It's gone. We don't have it anymore. Yeah.
basically it's gone within fractions of a second. So it's created and then it's like poof, gone.
Sounds like
So but the
my love life.
Yeah.
Um,
And my sex life. I understand.
oh Lord.
that's good. So let me tell you, why is she historic? She is celebrated as the first African American woman involved with the discovery of a chemical element. This is number
Wow.
117, Tennessine. So I want you to talk about your exposure to STEM. And I kind of picture you as growing up as like a Doc McStuffins. But how did this all come about? Jay said, were you just, did they know? Did they point to you and say, that girl's going somewhere? Or
Yeah.
that child's really smart,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. How was it in your growing up
Uh,
years?
Well, I think definitely my mother, she saw in each of my sisters as well, like the what we had an inclination towards, and she nurtured that.
Hmm.
And so we had encyclopedias, we had like little
Uh,
microscopes, we had a kitchen full of things that we were not supposed to mix together, and you do it anyway, and or fiddling with the VCR. So we were talking about the VCR before the show, and fiddling with the VCR, trying to fix, things or fixing broken
so you were
toys.
a
And
tinkerer. You would take
yeah,
things apart and then see how they work and stuff like that.
yeah. Or see how they will not go back together based off of go back together. So yeah, I did like to tinker. I like to uh mix stuff that
Yeah.
probably, kids shouldn't do in the kitchen. But
What
it
was
was
one of the first things you made when you were, say, a child? You made this
You put
from
something
scratch.
together. You
Yeah.
you know had your little beaker, if you
Yeah.
will,
What did
and
you make?
well, I know my sisters and I, we would take, well, at least for me, I would take bleach because I didn't know what bleach did to clothes. And
oh
so I
boy.
wanted to see what like bleach did to clothes. And I had bleached a pair of jeans, and it
It
did
did
what
it
bleach
did the bleach
does.
thing,
And
right?
so my mom was like, you're still going to wear those jeans to school. So I had to wear those jeans with the with the big bleach stain on
That's
it. But
so weird because
that's
back then it was
really in
like, I
style
ain't
now.
wearing them. I'm not wearing them. But now it's like cool. So you were ahead
Yeah,
of your time, right?
yeah, well, yeah. So we did a lot of you know, cooking type stuff. So like trying to make cookies from different ingredients and taking stuff in the cabinets above the stove and mixing them together and seeing what tasted really good. And I know one time I had got a chicken bouillon cube
Wow.
thinking it was a caramel,
Mhm.
and I drank it and it was, oh God, I learned my lesson on that one, to
Mm,
distinguish
mm.
between one of those caramel chews and a chicken
Yeah.
bouillon cube.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
definitely, yeah, yeah.
And your mom, I think I read this, Clarice. Your mom bought you a microscope set, like at a garage sale or something like that. And so that
Hmm.
kind of opened up a whole new world for you as to the use of microscopes and testing and things that you could put on the slides to look at.
Wow.
Yeah, yes. I mean, so she brought home this microscope slide set, and it had a lot of like pre-made slides on it, but then there's a bunch of blank slides and broken slides in there. And so, just looking through all of the pre-made slides and then taking, your own
Whatever, right?
spit or hair or dirt,
Yeah.
and smearing it on the slide and looking at it. I just thought it was just so cool to, zoom in and see, and you could still see like on the spit ones, the saliva,
Mhm.
you could still see like, things kind of moving
Moving
around, which was
around, right?
it was just so
Organisms
interesting.
that just came out of your sister's
Yeah,
body, and
yeah.
you're like,
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Hey, what was the teacher that took interest in you and said, you stick with this and you're gonna go and it's gonna work out for you? Who was that teacher?
I had two of them. Actually, my first teacher, he was the very first Black science teacher I ever had. His name was Mr. Paul Elton
Uh,
Bass. Fortunately, he's passed away, but he
oh,
was the best science teacher. He just made science so engaging. He made it fun. His room was filled with like all sorts of animals and dissected things. And I mean,
wow.
we just had a very immersive experience with him. And he made me fall in love with it more outside of my own like tinkering. He brought it to where, oh, I can apply it to this, or I can learn more about these type of things. And it was very interactive. There was I remember when we were learning about body types, and he had like the different body types stand up there, and he was describing himself. He was always like self-deprecating, but it was so
uh,
funny because he involved himself a lot in what he taught. And so it made it, because it was humorous, it was also, relatable because people could laugh and like find the humor and the fun in science.
and
Who's
he
the
So
looks
other
he
like
one?
was the
our
best
Uncle
one.
Jay,
Yeah, yeah. Who was the other
Yeah,
one? Who
Jay.
was the other one?
The other science teacher was my 10th grade chemistry teacher. His name was Mr. Woodbury, and he taught chemistry. And a lot of kids didn't like chemistry, but he was also another teacher that really was immersive with it. So
Wow.
at the
Mhm.
beginning of like each topic, he would have some sort of little science experiment that he would do. And I remember he did one on, he had a jar or a beaker, big beaker filled with marbles that was upside down. So all the
Mhm.
marbles were like, on the bottom, and he lifted the jar up and they like went everywhere. And he was like, okay, we're going to learn about entropy. It's the state, of disorder
We
of a
Yay,
we
system.
we have
entropy.
And
I
so
have
that was
no idea what that is. I have no. You
like,
lost me.
oh, yeah, yeah. But he did a lot of little cool experiments. He lit something on, I don't know what it was, but he lit something on fire, and it went like poof. It was like this little ring of fire that went into this Erlenmeyer flask. And it was so much fun. And so he
Yeah,
had a lot of cool experiments, and just made it really fun for me.
yeah.
Everyone else might not agree, but
So we have questions. Miss Eileen Littlejohn, what are your parents' profession and how many siblings do you have?
so my mother and father, they both did not finish college, but my dad went on to, even though he did not have a degree in engineering, he
Mhm.
went on to be the head engineer for Qualtex Labs in
Wow.
Georgia. And he knew every system. He could fix things. He worked on cars with his bare hands in Minnesota. I mean, so he was very intuitive about how things worked. And so he was an engineer through training himself.
Mhm.
And then my mother, she is like a writer. She's a poet. So she has some things that she writes poems, and so she's a
She's the
very
artist of the family.
yeah, she's like the artist, very literary, likes to read books, has lots of books.
And
So
are
we
your
had
sisters,
lots of books going.
were your sisters involved in the sciences as well?
I have a sister who is like science adjacent. My so I have six sisters. And
Wow. Okay.
yeah, three I grew up with. The other three, my dad had
Hmm.
with other relationships. But so I've got six sisters, and one of my sisters, she was in animal science, and so she worked on the TSU farm, well, Tennessee State University, the farm. I have another sister who is more into like healthcare, and I have another sister who is an esthetician, a wonderful esthetician in Georgia, in Atlanta. And so that, yeah, we are all kind of in different areas now,
Wow.
but no one's in like the hard physical
What you're doing.
sciences outside of myself.
How do you speak to kids to get them interested in science? It seems to be something that
Or to their
kids, or
parents,
their parents, right, right.
and in
Well, yeah,
fostering
so
that.
yeah, so I love to do outreach and talk to kids and like get them interested in science the way that my teachers did. And you have to like meet them where they're at. And so uh first it's breaking down that whole stereotype of what a
Hmm.
scientist looks like. So I asked them like, what does a scientist look like to you? And they will describe an older white male.
Wow.
Or I'll have
Looking
like
like
little kids.
Einstein with the crazy
Yeah, with the
hair,
hair.
or
Yeah.
Doc
Yeah.
Brown. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'll ask the younger kids to like draw a picture, and they'll usually draw, a certain type of person. But then when you say, "Hey, I'm a scientist. I do, work like this," and then what gets them is doing a fun experiment. So making ice
Uh-huh.
cream, making something explode,
Wow.
making something change colors, and then you can talk about how it does it or the concepts behind it. And then so you wow them first
Hmm.
to like get
Yeah.
them hooked, and then you explain how it happens, and then they'll want to know how other things happen. And so it's
Wow.
kind of like dropping little breadcrumbs to lure you into our STEM field. So uh
Oh
it,
God.
it's really fun because once they, especially once they get it,
You
like
see
when
the
you
light
see
more.
like, oh, it's like, oh yes, and then you got them. And
Right.
whether they pursue a STEM career or not, at least they know that science can be fun.
Exists
Wow.
out there. Yeah, the
That's
fun
good.
time.
Yeah,
That's really
Because
good.
once I got past
yeah.
balancing chemical equations, that was pretty much it for me in chemistry. And that was but I didn't have those teachers that, lit that fire inside of me. I do want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, you when did you become that girl, the only Black girl in the room? Do you remember that moment, that class that you walked into?
It wasn't a class. So I went to a historically Black college, Tennessee
TSU,
State
Tennessee.
University. Yes. And so I was never the only, you're
Right then.
surrounded by
Mhm.
you're in your bubble. Once you step outside of that bubble and pursue your career, you're not, you don't have that kind of
Hmm.
surrounding. And so after I graduated from Tennessee State, I went into the military. I joined the Navy and the Navy nuclear power program, which is how I got into the nuclear world anyway. And it was there was when I
You look
realized that
around.
I was the only, like, okay. And in my A school, I was actually like the class leader. And but I was also like oldest and the only Black woman, and throughout my whole I guess naval education, it was in my field in the Navy, I was usually the only or one of two Black women. And you kind of, it's hard to navigate that because you have
Mhm.
no one. You have no one when you're coming from an HBCU where you're surrounded by Black excellence, and then
Everybody,
you're
yeah.
Yeah.
shrink down to where you're like basically representing everybody that's got skin that looks like yours and hair that looks like yours. And so it's very isolating. And it had been that way throughout my whole naval career, and for the majority of my career outside of the Navy, at the lab. And so it wasn't until maybe a couple years ago that I actually had the opportunity to work with another Black woman. And so
Wow.
it was like when I saw her, I was like, oh, hi, so excited, because it's isolating. It can be
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
isolating no matter if you're focused on work or not. It's still, you want to at least find some sort of familiarity somewhere.
How did you
And
go ahead, Sybil? Go ahead.
and this moment when you were the only one, that also extended into your group of the group that made the discovery of this element too. Because initially
Yeah,
you weren't even a part of the celebration of it. Was that true?
yeah, that is true. I was the only Black woman, I guess, researcher in the building. There was I think at the time when I started, there was probably three minorities, black people that worked in that building. And so when I came, they initially thought I was a janitor or a student, and so I this was on this team, and the only Black woman there, and it was when they had the celebratory luncheon. I had no idea that this luncheon was going to happen. I was just basically walking down the hallway. My supervisor was like, "Hey, are you coming to the luncheon?" I was like, "What luncheon?" And so she's like,
Right.
"Oh, just come with me." And so I get there and I see that my name wasn't on the list to even get inside
Wow.
the room, because they were going to have like some important people there. So I assume they wanted to make sure they knew who was going to be in the room. And then on the tables, they had everybody's like individualized plaque and pen and all this other stuff. And on the large screen, they had all the contributors at Oak Ridge National Lab's name listed. And I was like, "Where's my name?" And I didn't see it. And so that did happen, but it was corrected, but it was in that moment, it was
Wow.
disappointing and
Right.
enraging. I was
Hurtful.
upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was,
And
yeah, made me
and
very
w
upset.
and we've run out of time for our segment. I know my producer
Right.
is, like, pulling her hair out, but I do wanna so how did you express that, and to whom did you go and say, "I need
My name
to"
ain't on here. Right.
Yeah, I did ask someone while I was inside of the venue, like, "What happened? Where's my name?" And this particular individual like laughed in my face and walked off, and that's what
Mm,
really made me leave the area, because I was about to cry, and I was
sure.
like really pissed off. But my supervisor, who told me to come with her, she came out there and she got me, and she was just like, "You belong in there. You did the work. You know what you know, and nobody can take that from you." And
Wow.
that always stuck with me, because she was very, very right. No one can take the
What
what's
you
in your
know.
head. Nobody can take
Right.
that from you. And the experience might have been a little tainted. The whole celebratory experience was a little tainted, but I think what I took away from it was more valuable than the physical plaque or the
Right,
recognition at the
right,
time. It was
right.
the message that I got from that.
Well, that happens to a
Wow.
lot of Black people when they walk into a room of all white people. They don't expect you to be what you are. You have to be something else, or you have to explain your
Yeah,
existence the minute you walk in
yeah.
the room. And it happens all the time. So good for you that you dealt with
But in this case, you
it. Hmm.
did what Shirley Chisholm suggested
Yes,
we do. You bring your folding chair and you get in
you
there
fit
and
in, right? You do it, right? All right.
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
stepped up, right? Clarice Phelps, you are a delight, and I
Thank
hope you
you.
will come back. I want to talk about your HBCU years because we are big fans of Dr. Glenda Glover at Tennessee State, and how we can help you in your effort to bring young girls into this area because we do have
Yes.
a heart
Great.
for that.
Great. Great.
So, how can people follow you? Because that's how I found you.
Well, I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. I don't know if you can post my handles afterwards, because saying at Clarice Phelps 39 is Twitter, and then at or C Phelps 39 on Instagram, and then I'm under Claire Phelps on Facebook.
All right.
You are
So
so great.
Really
yeah.
great. That's
Tell
really
tell
great.
tell
Yeah.
your mama well done. She done good. And
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
and
Thank you
and,
guys.
and
All
we will
right. Bye
we will
bye.
talk again, I promise. Thank you so much
Yes,
and
yes.
good luck to you. God bless
Thank
you. Take
you.
care. All righty.
Bye.
That is so
Oh
cool. That is so
my God. I love
cool.
that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I'm
To
Jay.
be able to talk to this lady with a trade school education, I'm like, I'm all right. I did good.
You're better than good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Jay, let's talk about what's going on in the news today. First of all, um, let's talk about your comedy gigs. Where are you going? What you doing?
The next show I have, I'm taping my comedy special at Atlanta Comedy Theater, 5'3". I've never done my own comedy special. I'm not gonna have an opening act. I'm not gonna have music. I'm just gonna walk out and do my thing. I'm gonna do 3 shows. I'm gonna do a 12 o'clock, a 1 o'clock show, a 7 o'clock show, and a 9 o'clock show. So we're gonna do 3, see how it goes. We'll be putting it up pretty soon with a flyer and advertising on the internet. So let's
And
see.
you said 5/3, so May 3rd?
Yes, 5/3, May 3rd.
Okay. All right, cool.
And a young lady by the name of Sylvia who does the video for Dish Nation. And we've done some videos before back in the day. So she's really good.
Awesome.
Along with the Bobby Brown video I'm gonna do. You're gonna like that. Yeah.
I
choreographer.
like it.
Tiffany's gonna be a choreographer. It's gonna be nice. You'll see.
Awesome.
Ian's making the costume. It's gonna be
cool. Ian who does the costumes for the cruise. Awesome. One of the best artists ever.
If you want something made, if you want to look like a coyote, I'm just throwing it out there. Ian can make, and he packages it so nicely.
And give us a little bit of Ian for those of us who know.
Yeah, man, call me up, man. I'm just with my money. I'm gonna talk to you.
So we will look forward to that.
Yes.
That is May 3rd, and Jay filming his first comedy show. So
first comedy special, right?
That's exciting. All right, so everybody's favorite Republican who is not officially in the race for the presidency, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, is clashing.
Who's a small mustache away from looking like Hitler? Trust me. He is.
He is clashing with Florida's chapter of the NAACP over the civil rights group's suggestion that travel advisories should be issued for the state because of how the governor's policies are affecting people of color.
I like it.
I do too. I absolutely love it.
There ain't nothing you can do about it. Nothing.
Well, he's talking loud, but he's not really saying much on this. But this is a situation in which members of the Florida chapter gathered in Orlando on Saturday and unanimously voted to ask the group's national board to issue the travel advisory, according to local media. One such advisory was issued for Missouri in 2017 due to the policies the NAACP deemed discriminatory. And we've been a part of that, where they have come on to the Joyner Show and they say, we're going to boycott this particular state. So DeSantis responded and he said, "What a joke. What a joke." Yeah, we'll see how effective that is.
No,
this
I
is
think
a stunt.
The real joke is how much of a chicken shit you are to Donald Trump and pretty much all the other Republicans. Either you're running or you're not running. Have some cahoobers or whatever you want to call it and run. If you're not going to run, just shut up. And what works in Florida is not going to work across the country. It's just not. And I don't see why the Republicans don't get it. They just do not get it.
So what he's done in Florida is he stopped the Woke Act, which critics say will force schools to whitewash histories of Black people, banned a new advanced placement course on African American studies, and he also formed a new elections police that mostly targeted former felons who were Black in the state of Florida, arresting them when they were told that they could register to vote.
Right.
So he has shown that he has no respect for Black people.
For nobody, Black, brown, or women. Don't forget women.
Or Jewish or Asians or, whatever. People of color primarily. But he is going to, he's going to learn today.
Yeah, and the other thing that gets me, he's so set on, denying us of our rights. I say us, Black, brown, women, transvestite,
Yeah, LGBTQ+.
But you have no say so when Trump calls you a name other than you just laugh it off. But I don't get it. I just don't get it, Sybil.
It's disturbing. It's disturbing to me. The Washington Post is reporting the New York grand jury paused on Donald Trump's hush money case until at least Monday. 2 people say that no additional Manhattan grand jury activity is planned this week involving the former president. Prosecutors from the office have been presenting grand jurors with evidence about Donald Trump's payments via Michael Cohen to the porn film actress Stormy Daniels. They were aimed at keeping her from airing the claim that she had a sexual relationship with Donald Trump years earlier, and the payments were made.
She said it was the most money she made in the shortest amount of time.
That most amount of money was $130,000.
And she said the shortest amount of time. Yeah.
The New York District Attorney is Alvin Bragg. He declined to give details
Bragg.
of the investigation, and his office is not saying anything, but he's believed to be considering charges related to the payments that would include falsifying business records, possibly in commission of another campaign-related crime.
We were talking about this today. Trump cannot be sleeping well. You know, it's easy to raise money and call this guy an animal. And that's ironic that a pig will call a black man an animal. You know, really? Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's not going to help you. And if Bragg doesn't get you, George is going to get you. You will be gotten. And you know that your days are numbered. You just know that. Right.
Right. Jay, I saved this for you, and I think you'll understand why. The CEO of TikTok was on Capitol Hill today, answering intense questions from the House committee amid growing calls by politicians for a ban on TikTok in this country. The chief executive faced hours of intense questioning from the lawmakers in a rare bipartisan gathering and coalition of people that reflected the fears and the anxiety on Capitol Hill about banning the app from the U.S. over its ties to China and handling of user data. The CEO's name is Zhi Chao.
Zhi Chao.
And he is from Taiwan.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No?
No, it's not going to happen. If that's the case, then you gotta eliminate all the foreign products and stuff that we buy from other countries. And you can't, you know how much information they have on you when you buy a car?
Yeah.
And they can use it for whatever they want. It's just that the Republicans have nothing else to do. But it's weird that Biden is kind of going along with this too, you know.
Yeah. Well, he really does want it. And he says that ByteDance is the name of the company that owns TikTok. But their relationship with the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, is so strong and engaged that they want them to break off the relationship with the Communist Party and lay down the law. And it's probably, as you say, it's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter because all of the social media that we have on our phones, and whether it's a company in China or whether it's a company in Taiwan or a company here in New York City,
and what would be the purpose of banning TikTok when, quote unquote, so many Republicans are selling information to foreign countries anyway? So yeah. Trump, I think, did so. I do. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. And his site, I'm not going to say its name, but he gathers a lot of information, and of course now he's referring to them by their prison numbers. A lot of his followers, but his website does the same thing, and so.
We'll see how that happens. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I also saved this story for you. The charge was first-degree murder after a dentist was charged in court today, where he was formally charged with killing his wife with poison.
Right.
They're saying that he is being charged with first-degree murder as he laced his wife's pre-workout protein shakes with arsenic and cyanide.
Wow. That's a lot of hate. Yeah. When you just have her come to the dentist, braces on her mouth so she can't talk. You need a little peace and quiet,
Jay, he killed this woman.
Yeah, so he shouldn't have killed her. Now that was wrong. Braces, wire her mouth completely shut.
That would have quieted things down.
Yeah, and a diet of soup for the rest of your life.
He was doing this in order to get with his girlfriend, who's a dentist in Texas. They say that
it's always the side piece that makes you end up in jail.
Do crazy things,
right, Trump? Huh? Trump.
They say that this woman went to the hospital several times this month. The final time was March 15th. 5 days later, she was declared brain dead. And they couldn't figure out how she had the cyanide and arsenic in her system. It appears that her husband, the dentist, ordered this through his dental firm.
Dental thing, right? Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Don't open anything that comes from me." And somebody opened it on accident. And they said, "What is this?" And so they started putting the pieces together.
And they figured it out. Well, people won't cooperate when you're trying to murder somebody. They just will not. When you got a master plan put together, somebody's going to mess it up. And now he ends up in jail when all he had to do was leave. But it doesn't seem that simple. They don't seem to take that route. Killing you is what I'll do. Wow.
Yeah. And Googling how to kill with arsenic and cyanide. That's not
he
good.
should have came up with that formula that what's her name just had. It doesn't even see what it is,
Right. It's just poof, it's gone. Clarice could have helped.
Clarice could have helped you out.
She's a good
yeah.
good
I need something to kill somebody that disappears. I got you.
Okay.
Give me a second. Give me a bouillon cube in about 20 minutes. I'll be
and a mop, because we don't want them to think that I know what I'm doing. So
I'll be right back with you. Okay.
So Jay, we're gonna close out with our entertainment, and I wanted you to be able to give your movie critique, because a lot of us are still not going to the movies, and you are.
Go. There's plenty of room. You're spread out. Go. Just go. There's nobody.
And I'm gonna give for those shut-ins a TV show critique. So, what is the movie you're going to?
The movie I'm waiting on is Wick 4. Wick 4, which comes out. It comes out tomorrow. And then also, I thought it was a really, really good movie. Ant-Man, Jonathan Majors, and Ant-Man and Jonathan Majors in Creed. This guy he's
great.
He can really act. I mean, he just took the screen over from Creed in the movie, which is great, which is what you want. But also, Ant-Man has another movie out that's on TikTok, and I cannot think of the name of. It's called The Fulfillment of Care or something like that. But it's a really good movie, really, really good movie. So I thoroughly enjoyed both of those. Yeah, I give both of them a 10.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to recommend 2 TV shows. One in stars your girlfriend in your head, Kim Whitley.
Oh, yeah.
Age. That is on Bounce TV, but don't go to Bounce. If you don't have Bounce on your TV system or cable, don't go to Bounce. You may not be able to find it. Go to Brown Sugar.
Oh, okay.
Download Brown Sugar
and
app,
you can see it.
And then you can see Act Your Age with Tisha Campbell and Yvette Nicole Brown as Kim's.
Good for them for putting this together. I think they all had some sort of an input in this project. Which is great. And what else you got?
And the other one is that I discovered because I have these sleepless nights. And Jackie Reed asked me about Unprisoned, and I hadn't seen it yet. Unprisoned is a TV series that is on Hulu, and it stars Kerry Washington and Delroy Lindo.
Oh, okay.
Delroy Lindo is a man who is a habitual prisoner. He's been in and out of prison for years. His daughter goes to get him on the day he's coming out of prison again. She's got a teenage son, and it's about their relationship as they are trying to rebuild.
Daughter.
She's the daughter. He's the father. I'm telling you, this show, I was like, okay, I'll watch the first episode.
She's such a good actress. She had a show on a while back called Little Fires Everywhere. Which oh my God, she's turning.
He is
too.
Good.
He is too. Right. Yeah, he is too.
This cast is so good, and the guy that plays his probation officer, then he's
got to answer to. Right.
Oh, he's so cute. He's just, oh my God, everybody works for me. And there's an element of this. There's a little girl who plays her younger self.
Oh, about him going in and out of jail. That's really good.
Her response to all it's great. It's really great. Good. So check out Unprisoned and also Act Your Age. So, which is what people tell us, Jay.
Well, I hear it's probably more than you. I know.
Probably, probably. Yeah. Thanks so much, my friend. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good weekend, babe.
Thank you. We're going to close out with Yogi's Jewel. The more you celebrate the joys of life, the more joy you will have to celebrate in your life.
That means pace your weed. Don't use all your weed. Read it again, Sybil.
The more you celebrate the joys of life, the more joy you will have to celebrate in your life.
Pace your weed.
That's Jay's interpretation
What I
of
get
that.
out of it.
I'm not sure Yolanda thought
No,
that
I'm
when
sure she never had that in mind, but
Yeah.
you know, it's what she puts it out there, and here's what I got from it. All
And
right.
that's your interpretation. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Clarice Phelps, you are a delight. J. Anthony
That
Brown,
is, we love
thank
you.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Later,
Aloha.
Sid. Bye-bye.